Fighting series all the way to that third mapper, OT involved as well, but unfortunately for Fury, they get sent home. Group D, W7M up against Team Bliss. Team Bliss immediately getting knocked into that lower bracket and fortunately gets sent home by Varel, but Wolves up against W7M still comfortable in that upper bracket. Whoever wins that best of one is going to be going straight to phase 2, but the loser drops down to the lower bracket finals in a best of 3 up against Varel to determine which second team from this group is going to be heading to phase 2. Now, if you didn't tune in on day 1, which I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't, but it happens. Group B is what we started off with. It was Nip up against Six Karma. Six Karma had an incredible performance, securing themselves a spot in the upper bracket. Space Station Gaming up against Elevate. Space Station Gaming joining Six Karma in the upper bracket. Elevate dropping to that lower and eventually gets knocked out by Nip in a clean 2-0. Group C was the final group, but that's also the first group that we've seen last time around. And it's going to be the first game that we're seeing today. But how exactly did we get here, you ask? Well, don't you worry, because Northampton up against Reven went heavily in favor of Reven. They're sitting in the upper bracket up against Soniqs, and that's the first game of the day. And La Vega getting dropped into the lower bracket and eventually also gets sent home, which at this point, guys, APAC just has not had the kind of circumstances, and unfortunately all the teams so far that have been knocked out have been from that region. Now, the first game, as I said today, is going to be a best of 1, Reven up against Soniqs, and winner of this game is going to be heading straight into phase 2, which is quite a comfortable position to be in. So, as much as I'm here to tell you guys what happened, a little jog down memory lane, help you recover your memory, that's not what I'm going to be doing anymore, because we now have our casters who are actually going to be walking you through the game, explaining some of the action. We have Soniqs and Guz ready. So whenever they feel like they want to be on camera and say hello, let me know and we'll pop them in. There we go.
Hello.
Hi,
hello,
guys.
Ginny. We're always ready.
You're always
How are
ready?
you?
I'm good. I feel like you guys are dressed for different occasions, but I like the outfits.
Yeah, we obviously didn't collaborate this morning together, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess APAC has not collaborated much at this tournament. Oh.
Yeah. The question here is, are you cold or is he warm?
I feel good.
I'm actually a bit warm. That's why I've got the sleeves up. I'm feeling a little bit flustered.
Yeah, I think under the lights, I think I've picked the better attire.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm a little cold, but that's fine. I'm wearing my jacket. You guys are going to walk us through the game. This is a pretty important one because the winner is going to head to phase 2, so take it away.
Exactly right, Ginny. Exactly right. Yeah, big game coming up. Big games coming up today, of course. Reven and Soniqs to begin with. Best of 1. Winner goes to phase 2. Reven, I didn't have them getting past Northampton, Gus. I'm not going to lie. Whether that's APAC bias or not, I thought Northampton would be too good. But lo and behold, they're here. And it's a chance, a bit of that fairy tale run, that magic. Could they take down Soniqs in a best of 1?
Both teams, in fact, had a pretty good start to this tournament, a 7-3 and a 7-2 respectively. Soniqs taking down La Vega. In fact, both of these teams actually share some parallels in how they even got here, right? They both had a good run in the league stage of LATAM and NA respectively, and then had to make the trench run through the LCQ. Yeah. They got here, they're looking both pretty good heading into this match. And as Ginny prefaced, right, big best of 1, you can eliminate the chance of going down to that lower bracket and risk going home today.
To reiterate, of course, the loser of this match, it's not out. It's not like it's over. They would drop down to the lower portion of this group, where awaiting them would be Northampton, of course, as they got past La Vega pretty comfortably in the end. Wasn't really too shocked with that one. Soniqs, though, they're the favourites coming into this matchup, as they were the favourites coming into this respective group. But for Reven, it's hard to think. Really, guys, they got nothing to lose here. This is a free punch in a best of 1. Anything can happen in a best of 1. This is a good opportunity for them to maybe cause an upset.
In terms of expectation and pressure, that is on Soniqs in this game. They are clearly the favourites. Again, despite not having the most favourable run, being knocked out by OXG in the bracket in the NAL, that they came back with good form. They're peaking at the right time. They have such a formidable roster. They have great support staff on this lineup. So Soniqs heading into this game have all the tools in the arsenal to get this result across the line and send themselves into the second phase.
Yeah, it wasn't all that easy in the first half for Reven against Northampton. Bit of a 3-3 half, but then they just blew Northampton away in the second half, 4-0 on the defense of Oregon. So a big strength of theirs proving to be the defensive side, whereas it was probably the opposite for Soniqs, where they just absolutely came out of the gates. It was a 5-1 first half against La Vega and never looked like slowing down, eventually winning 7-2. Way too easy, way too comfortable. In fairness, though, hard to judge in some ways. For me, La Vega, probably one of the worst, if not the worst team coming into the tournament. They were a team that had pretty much little to no expectations. They kind of struggled back home as well in Korea. It wasn't a surprise to see Soniqs really just sweep past them. So I very much imagine they're going to get a stronger opposition today in Reven.
And I think a lot of that is going to come down to the map veto, which I'm sure we'll jump into in a minute. I think the fact that Soniqs have such great support staff behind them, they're going to really prepare well heading into this veto. We flagged a couple of maps that we did expect to come through. I guess the question will be, did Reven expect that as well?
Let's go to the veto here, and we are going to get some fun. For the first time here at the Copenhagen Major, we are going to Themepark, and that now actually means Bank is the only map not played so far. I'll give Fresh a shout out for that one.
Also made it through. The two deciding maps were the two maps that have yet to be played here at Copenhagen. So look, looking at it as a whole, I think we can take a step back and say that Soniqs have lulled Reven into a bit of a false sense of security in this
Well, that's where I was going to go here. 17 times we've seen Soniqs ban out Bank over the last couple of months. It's been by far and away their most banned map, and they almost allowed it to go through. Reven, though, as you basically said, not falling for it. You think maybe that Soniqs wanted them to pick Bank and maybe think that they have lulled them into the trap?
I think Soniqs are happy either way, because Themepark is a map that they have shown a little bit of success on in the past, and they're also starting out on defense, attacking on Themepark as Reven, a team that doesn't have a whole lot of experience, especially not at this kind of level. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really hard, and if Soniqs have well and truly nailed this map as the one they want to go to, they're going to have a plan to shut down some of those entries.
They've both played Themepark recently at the very least, so there is some recency for both teams. Now, before we do get into this game, though, we are going to be heading to a short break, but on the other side, Reven, Soniqs, not too far away. Well, I didn't lie. That break was short, almost as short as APAC's appearance here at the R6 Major. Oh, no, there's more APAC to come, unfortunately, but not in this game. Themepark, where we're going. Reven,
Did you say unfortunately?
Yeah.
Did you misspeak?
No, I didn't. Have you seen the way that they've been performing right now? Disappointing. They make us look bad. Either way, these two teams won't. And look, honestly, coming into this tournament, I felt like I maybe underestimated Reven a little bit.
I think everybody did, right? Reven, for those who may be unaware, they sort of transcended the ranks. They moved overseas to compete in the LATAM League LC, well, the league and then the eventual LCQ, and they did a pretty damn good job. None of the players are from LATAM. They're a mixture around the globe of some nice, fresh young gunners. And look, we didn't expect them probably to put up too much of a fight against North Epsom. In fact, they smashed them.
Do you want a Xenox fun fact for the first one of the major?
Hit me.
There's more LATAM players on Soniqs than there is on Reven.
Oh.
Geometrics.
I think that's North America, though, technically, is it not?
Well,
Mexico is North America.
Well, Reven Club is technically a Mexican organization. And which is the team that has got a Mexican player? It's the Soniqs. Either way, let's get into this game. It's one that I'm excited for. A couple of reasons. One being, first time that we're going to be seeing Themepark at the major. The other being, of course, for me, Reven, they just get a free punch here. Soniqs are by far and away the heavy favorites. Everyone is aware of that, but it's the best one. Anything can happen here. Soniqs will ban out the Dockerby first as we get things underway.
Now, Soniqs previously have banned out operators like Montang on this map, but typically a target ban against some of the NAL teams that like to play him. So a bit of a change up here. Dockerby is great on that entry lurk, and I think for Reven on attack, they need to be looking at the likes of Joe, the likes of Runner as well, who MVP'd, I believe, in their previous game to try and kickstart these rounds. Ying as well for executes, always annoying and has been a prevalent ban throughout the major thus far. And as we've seen throughout stage 1, Valkyrie has also been a popular ban.
And it's a magic trick. Izami, come to the foray, please. Yes.
Oh, he's good.
He's very good.
Get this guy to a major.
It's, not that difficult, is it, though? Valkyrie, Izami, they're very much target bans in this current meta. And sticking to the script for Reven, Ying, Valk, their two most banned operators. What do they ban? Ying, Valk. They are not map dependent. They just don't want to deal with those operators. And obviously, for the side of Soniqs, Izami is very much one of their hard bans as well. So no real surprise there. The Dockerby, if anything, was actually probably the only pick out of of all four where maybe question things a little bit. Flores actually typically a band that we do see come out of the Sonics. They don't bring it here though, and they will be defending. First, Reven will be attacking as we head over to Themepark.
Now the expectation, as typical here on Themepark, is that attacking is going to be very, very tricky. So Sonics, again, they've played their cards right in this veto. They've really, I think, set up Reven for a very difficult best of one here for Sonics. So it's all about mounting pressure nice and early. We go over to Throne for round number 1.
The last time these two teams played Themepark, both in their respective LCQ Grand Finals, in fact, actually. For the side of Reven, it was a 7-3 victory over Malvinas Gaming. They won that one on Themepark, and, well, eerily similar. It was a 7-3 victory as well on Themepark against Beast Coast for Sonics in their NAL LCQ Grand Final. So both teams, again, with recent history of success on this particular map. But that's about it. There's not much more to that. It's not as if these two are heavily played on Themepark all that often. As Joe's just going to open up main entrance and we begin. Best of 1 to preface, and the loser of this will also play the best of 3 against Northeption later this afternoon.
And we theorized in the green room that Joe's going to play a pivotal role on these lurk entries, getting picks, creating space. Interesting, he's going to be playing the Flores for this opening round. And we did see util scattered on site. There is that deployable shield as well in play from Citizen. So he'll be looking to clear that. Good start though. Runner cooks the nade and takes down Citizen, so I've cursed him at the beginning of this game. That's the Warden down now. Ying was banned by Reven, so the impact of that Warden nullified a little bit in the ban phase anyway, but still that's a gun down and a bit of pressure now on Sonics to find something back.
Yeah, and that's probably just all you need from Reven here in the first half. Get some really, really good success early on. Put the pressure onto Sonics, but a nice shot back though by Rexon. We'll get the kill onto Joe. That one able to stabilize things for the Sonics. Momentarily they're on the roam, pushing back and through control goes draw. So 4 versus 4, just over a minute 40 left, but not a bad start though from Reven. They are starting to at least get some decent map control here. In through Cafe goes Rav, but he loses his life to Grixa. Shot through the wall, shot through the head, and it's the Sonics with the player advantage.
That's clean. Sonics are being tested a little bit here in this opening round. They're having to be sharp to find some of these frags back, but doing a decent job to keep pace with the chaos that Reven are looking to try and employ. Gunner. Oh, gets caught on the door, at least not our POV, but makes his way now through to off. There's to watch his back, gets the kill, sprays onto the second, but it's Runner onto Gunner. 2v3. That's going to really be confusing,
Runner
isn't it?
onto Gunner. I don't know where else you can go with that one. We'll leave it though for now. 60 seconds left, and well, subsequently Runner is quite low from that engagement. To be fair, I thought Sam should have probably got that kill onto Gunner earlier. Lost it on the initial swing through the doorway. And it's going to be now probably on site here for the Sonics. And yeah, just over 45 seconds remaining. At the very least, though, for Reven, they do have the diffuser still in hand. Some vert control established at least too. Draw can do some work with the sledge, but yeah, not a whole lot of time. Not just one out from Geometrics, but that didn't find the mark either. But to be fair, I think the Sonics have got this one locked down. It's going to take a miracle, considering Runner can't take a bullet just about anywhere. He will fall down. Needs to find a very early entry kill, Draw to then follow up if Reven are to find any success here.
Been a decent effort from Reven to open up attack, but we're just seeing how difficult the Sonics are going to make it for these first 6 rounds. Still an opportunity, but players lurking. Rexon's likely going to capture a Runner, and he does. That's diffuser on the deck, and that's the round confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, 2 versus 3, 30 seconds left. They're all just sitting in sight. Not a whole lot you can do, and obviously for Reven, they very much at that point, the last 2 remaining players very much trying to be cautious, making sure no one's holding off-site for those flank push-ins at the last second, but pretty much a standard hold from Sonics, and that's always a very difficult prospect to push in. It was that moment there in Showers, actually. I really thought Sam was going to be able to get that kill onto Gunner. Had he been able to, then suddenly it turns the tide of the particular round. Unfortunately, he fell, he lost his life. Runner then lost a lot of HP as well, so that was just a really, really big moment in Showers from Gunner. I think that was the turning of the tide in that round. Remembering back as well, Reven got the opening kill. They started well, they got good map control, some good signs, but Sonics too good in the end.
Yeah, I can't really complain too much about that start. Throwing defense, it's where you want to be. They looked comfortable. Reven did really try to ramp up the pace there a little bit in the opening phase as we enter a technical pause. But then Soniqs responded, so they did a good job.
Well, I mean, look, I tell you what, technical timeout, but I don't think this is really going to do a whole lot for either of these two teams. One round in doesn't really make a whole lot of difference, and I think Soniqs, well, they'll be happy. They won the round. And for Reven, while they're not going to be happy, I don't think they'd be too displeased by what they saw in that round. Opening kill, good map control. I thought that they were able to, at the very least, get into the round and get some good positions, got a couple of kills, dealt with some of the roamers until obviously Gunnar got a nice kill over towards Showers, and he was too impactful in the end. But some good signs at the very least that maybe Reven can compete, that they can cause the upset here against Soniqs, attacking first as well into Themepark, which, you know, as really this tournament has played out so far, this major, I think I saw on Fresh's tweet, something like 66, 67% defensive sided on all maps across the board. So, you know, for Soniqs on the defense first half, we're probably expecting them to do well early.
I think 5-1. If I'm Soniqs, I'm going to this 5-1. Yeah.
So you think 4-2 wouldn't be good enough? You think that's going to leave the door too far ajar?
Well, that's two different questions. Do I think 4-2 would be enough for a team of Soniqs' caliber? Sure, I think they're great. I think they'd be able to close out an attack, no issue. But I think the target needs to be 5-1. You can have your one doozy round, especially if it's on a tertiary side or whatever. You can, whatever, throw that one away. But you're the better team in this matchup, right? You need to be dominant, starting off defense. The bands aren't particularly attacker-sided in that regard, so.
Well, if you phrase it in that way, where are the opportunities then you think for Reven in this first half? Where do you think that they're going to be able to get some round wins? What sites for you, at least, do you think maybe can give them an opportunity?
I think the most difficult part about Themepark is the top floor plays out almost identically regardless of the site. So if you're on initiation side, it plays out similarly to whether you're on bunks. It just depends on what approach the attack wants to take. Yep. The big wild card is actually lab storage. And I don't want to leak it too much because we can actually see the clean feed off to the side. You guys can't see it on stream, but it has been flagged at the moment.
Well, you just leaked it.
So I just did.
You just did it.
I gave them a couple seconds. I could have muted. So it may well get played. I don't want to confirm that by any stretch. We'll have to see what happens regarding the tech pause or whatever. But yeah, for me, that's going to be a very interesting site to see played out. But Soniqs wanted this map. They lured the trap. They're going to be prepared for this. Yeah,
you would hope so at the very least. This is something that they probably felt they won this map veto actually rather comfortably. If they allowed Bank through on purpose, now to give some extra context, Bank is not a map that Reven like to play either. It's heavily banned by them. Statistically, one of their worst maps actually in recent times. I think a 0-2 win-loss record, and the numbers are really bad. It's all in the red. So that was not a map that Reven would really want to go to, but they would have probably expected for Soniqs to ban it out because it's their most banned map. So I thought there was some really good mind games there and from the coaches on the map veto side of things. And obviously to get to this point, I obviously think Soniqs are pretty happy with the way things have played out. This tactical timeout obviously just progressing a little bit longer than we would have anticipated, guys. So still just 1-0, a little bit of an update there for those just tuning in. It is Soniqs up 1-0 at the moment on Themepark.
Do you reckon we could listen in? Any?
Is it good?
Ooh.
Yeah, all good now.
All good. That's what we want.
I think I can understand all good now and thumbs up.
I was actually going to make a comment. Gio's notes there from Soniqs. He had a lot of strats on the table there ready to go. I haven't seen that much prep.
Oh, hang on. What is
oh, don't. Turn away. Turn away. We're going to get in trouble.
I thought he was about to zoom in, actually.
I think he wanted to. We told him no.
Obviously, this does, I guess, give a little bit of extra time to just sort of catch your breath as well, getting into the game. First round, you get rid of the jitters, you get rid of that adrenaline. The other thing to know, it's an interesting one, but I feel like the pressure's off a little bit in this game. Knowing for a fact that if you lose this, it's not like you're out of the tournament, right? It's only a best of one, you drop down, best of three, guess who awaits you? It's an APAC team. Okay, we can deal with that. So I feel like there's probably not that much pressure surrounding these teams.
There's as much pressure on this match as you want to put on it. I don't think if you're an outsider looking in, there is a lot of pressure, as you say. Some teams can get in their own heads, though, so I think it's important that you just go into the match with that mentality, right?
Yep, and we go back into the game now as well. Lab storage, guys. So this one sort of perked your interest a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm keen to see what Soniqs do bring out for this particular objective. They're going to lean into quite a heavy trap meta, right? So you've got the Legion, you have the Capcan, you also have the Frost in play as Rexon goes for a couple of drones from Spawn. Then Grixer can roam around, play the solos perhaps on the other side of the map, especially if Reven want to go for some sort of map clear, and can also clear any drones that may have made their way in towards the objective, which he's currently doing. And then Geo looking to deny information. I think the tester here, honestly, I think I'm also looking at Reven. How do you deal with this tertiary site against such a good team?
Yeah, and I think also the way Soniqs are playing into this, you kind of look at the bans, no Azami, no Valkyrie, so you're not really going to want to just sit down, hold these sort of corner positions, make it difficult. For example, top dragon stairs, a position that can be held very strong with the Azami, with those keeper barriers. You don't have that, so it's very easy for Reven to be able to push in from those kind of positions, drop security. So it changes things up a little bit. In this position, though, for Soniqs, I think moving is going to be their forte. As Joe finds the opening kill onto Gunner, that's 2 rounds in a row now, though, where Reven have got the opening picks. Definitely good signs here on Themepark early for Reven.
And now it's about how do they respond to the Soniqs, because they're more than likely in this position now going to look to make a play. Geo over towards split, senses pressure from maintenance, the ball getting opened up, so he rotates back over towards barrels, not necessarily wanting to take a small percentage fight. Could get pressure though through the soft wall leading into barrels, so we'll see if Reven can gain information as to where Geo has position, but they've got a decent foothold, a little bit of pressure, and looking better than they did in round 1.
Live drone now for Joe through blue, and they'll get some good information off this yellow ping over towards barrels. Geo getting pressured now. Has to be very careful. Both angles definitely not going to be free. Notices one side of that's going to be Joe though that gets the kill. So 5 versus 3 now. Reven looking to really open up this lap storage site. Cricks up, a nice angle. Just moved away from him for a second, thought he was going to be able to find something. Good straw with the nade onto Citizen. Soniqs falling apart pretty comfortably here. Does get the kill onto Joe, but low on health. Low on health indeed. Gone. It's a 1-1 start here. What a start for Reven.
I guess I overestimated Soniqs a little bit on that particular objective. Reven pretty much tried to simplify that round as much as possible. They stacked Throne. They got the opening pick, they cleared out Geo. He had to try and make a play from barrels to get something back. He was getting pressured from multiple angles. The rest of the team weren't really in positions then to support, so it was a tricky one there for the defense. Reven doing a good job. And comparatively to round number 1, they play off that first pick. Look, you can just see them stacking this position because they have the manpower. They're not overcomplicating the push.
And no focus really on the vert as well, up above, no push in through Cafe of the likes, or Arcade, for example. And I wonder if maybe that's something that Soniqs were potentially anticipating, a little bit more presence up above. Instead, it's rather horizontal, live drone in through blue, pretty easy swing, get a couple of kills. Again, that opening kill, now we didn't quite get to see it, guys, but that's 2 rounds in a row. That's something to keep in mind now coming into this 3rd round. If Reven have got this capability of constantly finding these opening picks without trade, that's going to spell disaster for Soniqs in the long run of this first half. Now, we don't know, this might end up being a map that slightly favors the attacking side of things, and I wouldn't be necessarily surprised by that. You know, there's no Azami, there's no Valkyrie. Those are pretty hefty bans on the defender side, so don't want to get too excited too early, but Reven, first 2 rounds, have shown some really good signs here.
Attacker repick then onto the Montang for round 3. We theorized that Soniqs would not ban out the Monty. They did against Beast Coast. That was a target ban, but we wouldn't really expect Reven to be playing it right at this sort of level with this sort of experience. We'd expect a much more gun-up approach, focusing on entry and winning out duels. So I'm quite interested to see how they look to play around the Monty. Look as well also in play, so Draw can lurk down below, and Sam playing contact through Cafe.
Yeah, and immediately now through Cafe, Rexon can't do a whole lot. He probably just has to give up this position, obviously anticipating the follow through. Anyone wants to play off the Montang, he's prepared for it. The shield still needs to be dealt with, at least in the hallway, but you know, ultimately it's a really good start here for the Soniqs in this position. I don't know if the Montang can push too much forward from here, so you kind of just can stall that out until that shield is destroyed. Then I think Soniqs can at least hold that position for now.
E1D in play, Draw expending 2 grenades, one on the stairs so he can sneak up late, the second on the vert, but doesn't land. Sam looking to get more aggressive, looking for information, and the yellow pings do come forward. Joe as well lurking in through waiting. Reven are really constricting this site at the moment, and Soniqs giving them a lot of room. Citizen wanting to disrupt, shut down.
And for the 3rd time, again, no trade on these opening kills. Really nice swing. Joe's low on health from that engagement. The early contact fights, though, all favoring Reven. Reven. And so far, even their onside execution have looked pretty good. Draw, top yellow, takes a bit of a beating. Finally, Soniqs get something to go their way. It's only little. But guess what? All three gas babes now expended from Geo with a minute still remaining. Big shot, though, from Rexon onto Runner. And everyone on the side of Reven very, very low now. That DMR is just shredding them.
Oh, 3 for Rexon. All of those attackers so low on HP, the DMR being allowed to shred. Joe still over towards waiting, and Soniqs able to bring that round back.
Holy shit.
Is he allowed to swear? Is that okay?
Yeah, he is.
Are we?
Maybe. We'll find out later.
Maybe if there's like a big play.
Well, that was a good round, though, from Soniqs. I like the shield hole in the hallway, made it difficult. That Montaigne wants to get into Cafe, get control in that position. But even though the Montaigne can get in, no one else could really get in either. That shield, that hallway position being held from Soniqs made it difficult for Reven to get that control inside a Cafe. Eventually, we saw the lurk through waiting. That got at least one. That did stretch the defense a little bit, but good responses from Soniqs. And yeah, they said that's just not going to work against us. And a really, really solid on-site defensive hold. Really, probably their best round so far.
Again, decent start for Reven. I think they established some good, powerful positions and did force Soniqs to manufacture something a little bit there, especially Citizen early, right? Feeling a bit of heat, wanted to try and scout out waiting, got taken down, but then the rest of the team, Rexon especially, saw that opportunity, really capitalized. So we go over back to Throne, where it all began for round number 4. Oryx in play, Mirror in play as well from Citizens, so expecting probably a hold up above. Didn't quite capture it, but I assume that will be the play here for Soniqs.
I am beating the same drum again here, but as we go into the 4th round, Soniqs have got to do better at not just throwing away an early death. They've got to reel that in. That's the one thing at the moment I think is giving Reven a really good look in. 3 rounds in a row, Reven have got the opening kills without trade either. So Soniqs are clearly happy to take these early contact fights. That's fine, especially on a map like Themepark, but they're losing them all. Got to change that, or reel it in a little bit. Try and play a little bit more back, deeper on, closer to sight. Don't take these early contact fights if you're losing them. Nitrocell goes out, Runner avoids that, and there you go. Gunner finds the opening kill. That's much better from Soniqs. Over towards initiation, Gunner's just going to keep running around, and that's something that obviously Reven have to contend with.
Dash around and cause damage. Good start for Soniqs. They'll be pleased with that result, and now it's just about consolidating this position because there are still threats that could pose a problem. Draw pretty keen to drop the hatch, waiting for the drone to confirm and maybe gather a little bit of information here, but this could be critical in turning it around. Draw, though, doesn't want to commit, just sensing that's a little bit too high risk.
Not a lot of moving going on at the moment. Oh, there is on the roof, but not really in the map itself, and so Reven, unfortunately, not getting a whole lot of map control. It's costing them. We saw the EE1D go out from Wrath. No one followed up on it.
Well, look, they've got no drones. So halfway into the round, right? So Mozzie Solace combo is causing so many issues here for Reven. They need to just play contact from this point onwards. Soniqs, provided they know, and they should, that all 10 drones are down, can rat in positions and they're not going to be cleared.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of dry peaks as well. No information. Rexon through cash, he can drop down now, and he had the information and still should have the information as well to catch him from behind. A little bit slow to react on that shot through the doorway. And obviously now his position is known. Under a minute remaining. Reven down a player. But they've got at least maybe one opportunity here onto Rexon. They could try and pinch him here over towards Gong. If they do, can bring it back to 4 versus 4. He's just going to swing, though, uncontested still. The pings go out. He knows exactly where they are. It's Citizen, though. Top Dragon. He gets the kill onto Wrath. This round is falling away from Reven. Too stagnant. Not dealing with these roamers. Not dealing with the pressure off-site very well at all. Too focused over towards main, and that's costed the big time. 1 versus 5. This round's over.
Next time that guy on your stack says droning isn't important, just show them this round. Because you saw the way that Soniqs reacted, and immediately when they knew that information was hard to come by for the attack, they played the most awkward positions to clear. Soniqs doing a really, really solid job on that round. Love the fact that they commit to that extension, they commit to denying information, the Solace and the Mozzie posing problems. And Reven, when they're starved of info, you could see they were startled.
Yeah, the fact that they lost every single drone, what was it, like 60 to 90 seconds remaining in the round?
At least,
I think it was like, yeah, a solid minute and a half at the very least. Used their drones early, that's fine, but couldn't follow up on it. No map control at all. But credit to Gunner at the start on the Oryx. Still, regardless of the first 3 rounds, and regardless of the fact that Reven had been finding these opening kills, still aggressive, still roaming, still looking for that early contact fight. Found it, got the kill. And obviously Soniqs, they're getting better really as the game has gone on. That 4th round was probably their best round. The 3rd round was their best round before that and so on. So yeah, really good chance for them to close out this first half. You said 5-1 is probably the goal for them, well, 2 rounds to go for that.
So we're actually going to go back to lab, but the difference is they're going to pretty much transfer the same sort of mentality or ideology from the previous round into this one, right? So heavy focus on information, Solace and Mute this time around. Also add Geo on the Vigil, who may have a little bit more freedom, especially if he wants to roam on the eastern side of the map like last time. He could do it perhaps with a little bit more freedom. He had the mirror on top to fortify sight as well, especially up above, so protect the vert if Reven want to go for it this time.
Already 3 drones gone. Already 3 gone. I mean, that's just inexcusable, but also really solid job. You would imagine from Grixer on the Solace and really just Soniqs in general, really shutting down this information gathering for Reven. Yeah, lab storage though was won last time by Reven, but a big change up from Soniqs, and you feel like they're just kind of brimming with confidence now as this half has gone on. Live drone for Joe. Reven need to respond. Again, down to 5 drones. There's 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. They're down to 5 drones left.
Let's see how much information Sam can gather inside of control. Spots the mirror facing initiation. Sees the swing as Geo elsewhere gets the pick. So Gunner was able to reposition in the meantime. Geo, so he is locking down the same spot or similar position to the previous round, but you just add that flare of the Vigil. It just makes it exponentially more difficult for Reven to find him.
And Soniqs using more of the map this time around. Last time they played lab storage, it was largely on side, maybe a bit of a vert above. That was about it. It was a very easy push for Reven through blue. They got good control, they swung, they got good contact fights. They also got the opening kill in that round, so it was a 5v4 for like 90% of the round anyway. Whereas again, this flip, Soniqs, they're getting much better map pressure.
Draw has no idea. So again, the power of the Vigil on display. He's going to drone. Spots out the presence. Geo swings. Oh, he doesn't win the fight. Draw. Wow. Big pick there for Reven and might be able to kickstart something in the 5th round.
Just wonder, Geo maybe could have held that position a little bit longer. Presence was questionable, to say the least. Minute and 10 seconds left. An opportunity now for Reven. They probably only need maybe 2 rounds here in this first half. That might be good enough, depending on how things shape up in the second half. Wrath just watching Yellow Stairs. Just under a minute now, and makes the shuffle over towards lockers. And again, though, for Reven, low on health, and yeah, that one was Runner, who was half health. Very easy shot from Gunner from that distance with a shotgun. Gets his elimination. He's gone now, 3 versus 4. Once again, advantage for the Soniqs. Draw looking to now push over through Arcade.
And now we're seeing that information staff come into effect. Joe was flicking one that may be for the flank, but players active, players alive, not being able to farm information and feed that to the players that might be able to find a couple of picks and bring this round back. It's a man disadvantage for Reven. Wrath trying desperately up above, but now the rotation comes through. They have some sight control, but Soniqs, keep in mind, are up above, and Grixer down below gets one. The P90 in hand. Oh, almost gets the second. Well, he does eventually clean it up. A little bit messy at the end, but overall, a much better lab storage from Soniqs.
I think messy is probably the word of that round there from Reven, sort of just struggling inside of the map. They go back out, then they try and go for an arcade push. That doesn't work. I think they're starting to run out of ideas as to maybe how to break down this Soniqs defense. And yeah, credit to the Soniqs style, because I think the first maybe 2 rounds, they didn't quite look all that clinical. But really, as this game has gone on, this half has gone on, they've just looked a little bit more clean. Geo in that position probably just felt pressured. How much of his position was really known. He swings out low on health, but on site, it was all too easy for the Soniqs. They still had 2 or 3 covering, and even though Sam was able to kind of slip into sight, he was always just going to be pretty much toast. As soon as that plan even had gone down, they would have been able to retake straight away. So 4-1, 1 round to go in the half, and it's a really solid start from Soniqs.
Yeah, I really love the fact that they switched up just enough in that last round where Reven couldn't comfortably go for a stack through theme. They had to deal with Geo, they had to deal with the vertical, which got a couple of picks. And Soniqs having the confidence and the experience to play retake is a sign of a team that's really improving throughout the course of this map. And yes, it hasn't been perfect from them thus far, but they're doing a really, really good job at having a convincing defensive effort. And that 5-1 I was perhaps alluding to earlier, now looking like it may come into fruition.
Yeah, very well might. Reven's best rounds, though, were all at the start, so they're going to have to find something here that we haven't seen from them probably in the last 3-4 rounds. Been struggling to get good map presence. They've lacked, obviously, in their droning department. So, you know, like those kind of little plays here, top of arcade draw on the UFO with the drone. Like these kind of plays, they've not really been able to do because they've just not had the gathering information available to them.
So Joe on the rappel, Reven doing their best to feed a bit of information, and he may be able to catch a defender off guard. I can't quite tell whose backside that is. Oh, but Rexen crosses and almost feels the pain of the rappel.
Not bad from Joe, though. I mean, like, you don't get the kill, but you get some damage into Rexen, some damage into Grixer. You caused a bit of a nuisance as well. Running through Cafe with the drone. No draw, loses his life to Gunner. Rexen aggressive despite the drone. Eventually gets rid of it, and he will just continue to push in through Cafe. So aggressive. Runner probably wouldn't have expected him to be that deep in. He was actually quite fortunate to even get away with his life intact. Rexen, I mean, they are just feeling the confidence right now, making it so difficult for Reven to just push into the map itself. Gunner elsewhere finds another kill. He's up to 7 as well, alongside Rexen. They are farming Reven now to close out this first half.
And Soniqs proving that they don't need necessarily that Solus mute or Mozzie combo to deny information. You can see there was a lot of early pressure in the round, but they did a good job in denying the majority of it. And players like Rexen now being allowed to aggress. He's got his foothold down inside of Cafe, and Reven stalled out. It will be a 5-1 half for the Soniqs, and Gunner should be the final dagger to the hearts of Reven in round number 6. Wrath, though, does hold on, and we'll see if he can mount an effort. It's a lot to ask for, though.
No, not going to happen from here. So it's going to be a 5-1 half to the Soniqs. Perfect start here on Themepark. And starting to see the disparity between these two teams. And it's quite stark, unfortunately, for Reven. First couple of rounds, there was a little bit of hope. Second round was great. They got the round win, but since then, nothing but dominance from the Soniqs. 5-1 at the half.
Okay.
I heard something dragon.
Keep it up.
Yeah, some words of encouragement. And look, rightly so. Again, early portion of that round, Soniqs couldn't lean into the Solus. They couldn't lean into the Mute or the Mozzie, but they did a good job to chip away at the drones as they came forward. They made sure that the pressure was also dealt with immediately on the entry. Players like Rexen, I think every day of the week, 9 times out of 10, most players are going to sort of fall back and be like, oh, I don't really want to push that all too much.
Yeah.
But sensing the pressure that Reven are under, knowing that they are the ones under the pump, he pushes forward, he locks down that spot, and 100% confirms the round.
And that round as well is what I feel like Reven moved away from something that was working a little bit in the opening rounds. You know, they were entering a little bit more like top dragon stairs, in through control, those kind of areas, even if it was on the other side of the map. But it allowed them to get a foothold into the map, move through, deal with some of the roamers. And, you know, remember the first 3 rounds, they were dealing with those roamers. That was something that they were actually doing well with. They kind of moved away from it. The second half, they were a little bit more direct towards site, leaving themselves in a sort of one-dimensional attack position, and Soniqs just punished them time and time again. We'll see, though, maybe how defenders decided this might end up being. Who knows? Reven will, of course, now go on to the defense, but they have got themselves into a hole that they need to dig themselves out of.
Oh, Solus Mozzie, it seems to be the flavor of the day. We'll see how Soniqs look to deal with it as Grixer taken down. It's a spawn peek through storage from Joe. And it's a tough map, especially with the operators on the board to bring back this disadvantage.
And that's the beauty of being able to look at Themepark objectively. It really comes down to how you want to play. And we're seeing that here from Reven already. Basically, a spawn peek and a run out. So we didn't quite see that aggression from Soniqs. Like, not that they weren't aggressive, but they were a little bit more controlled in their aggression. So Reven immediately, it's like, okay, we're on the defense. We're going to get rid of their info as well. We're going to destroy their drones, and we're going to run out, and we're going to spawn pick, and we're going to be aggressive. And immediately it works. It gets 2 kills. 5 versus 3 from here. And that's why I like the Jackal from Citizen, and I imagine we'll probably see a little bit more of this in this half.
I think for Soniqs, provided they end up losing this round, that's the expectation. You sort of just got to chuckle that off, not get too frustrated by it. Thrown, typically, as an attacker, is a free shot. That was not a free shot. But it is something they need to be conscious going forward. Those spawn peaks, especially if Joe is feeling himself and continues to go for them throughout the rest of this half, Soniqs must adapt and be ready for them.
Reven, though, got to be careful here. Soniqs are not a team that you want to rest on your laurels against. Even if you are inside a throne, it can still be overwhelmed, overran, especially if Gunnar can get some good pressure above. And there's still time. And I like to draw, obviously the low on health. Citizen just gets himself straight in though. Eventually though, loses his life to Joe. Obviously got down on to Sam. Not a whole lot of room though for Geo to move. Tries to push through maintenance, 60 seconds left. 2 versus 4. Although Sam probably, you know, able to get back up. So you would imagine it's more of a 2v5. Well, he just sits there like a human drone on the floor.
Yeah, one of those difficult objectives to push in late with such a strong advantage to the defense. Gunnar does find one though. May weaken the cross, and there's time, but Gio doesn't land that shot. If he does, it's on, but unfortunately it doesn't land. A 1v3, 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, really solid round from Reven. So it starts with their aggression early on. We saw it with the spawn peak, and we saw it then with the run out. That gets them the advantage, and at that point, they're able to also have a lot of fun with dealing with the drones. They did that well, and then you can just fall back to site. I just hear muffling. That was the same sound. But yeah, what I like this though is they're down 5-1 and they've still got the confidence to go for these kind of plays. So credit to Reven in this round, definitely well earned, and I will say that it's still a site that you would expect them to win defensively. Yeah.
And again, that sort of links back to the point I made in the mid-round. It's important that Soniqs take on that feedback from that round and go, all right, that's something we need to be conscious of. I like the Reven are going to shy away from making those ultra-aggressive plays, Joe in particular, but it is thrown. We're not really expected to win that side.
So 2 things I like here immediately for Soniqs. I actually kind of like the Bravo in a game where information gathering has been very difficult. Yes, it's an extra drone, but you can also get those default cameras as well.
He just switched off.
And he just switched off it to a Flores. So.
But that's still additional information if you want to look at it that way. It just doesn't have the same ability.
I love the Nook though from Citizen. I mean, I said Jackal. I think I expected maybe a bit more Jackal, but Nook kind of fills that same role. You're going to hunt down these roamers, these lurkers, and that's going to be Citizen's role here in stopping Reven. This position here as well, top Dragon, Joe on the Warden. Unfortunately not on the Azami, which can really hold it for an extended period of time with those Kiba barriers, but Warden will do. So 2-5 on the scoreboard. Not quite match point just yet for Soniqs, but won't take too much to get there. So Reven basically have to be perfect from here. And the dream start, and a lot of information gathered from Ronno already here in Arcade.
Yeah, showed early presence down below. As Rexon looking to find a bit of information up above. Claymore's now in tow from Geo to try and deny runouts, but it's a good start from Gunnar. Nice angle down through Cafe. Wrath struggling a little bit in this match, 1 and 6 thus far. And being the Wamai,
yeah,
that utility does regenerate as the round goes on. You get more value as a defender the longer you stay alive.
And with the 1.5x, you're quite deadly too, so... Oh no, Gunnar! Run, Rexon!
If he got caught in the animation, that probably would have been the saddest way to die.
Well, luckily he didn't cook it that long. Yes. He had to cook that any longer, and I tell you what, Rexon would be on the floor. Oh, he gets away. Just over 90 seconds, at least some comedy provided from Soniqs, along with their dominance here on Themepark. 4 versus 5, they've got the advantage in this round well and truly, and they've done well, at least in dealing with a lot of this utility set up by Reven. Citizen with a swing here, expecting a response back from Reven, but they don't really move a whole lot. Draw inside of Daycare. He's got a couple of different angles to be wary of. The nade as well from Gunnar. On point, that one's much better from Gunnar.
Slight improvement, but a 3v4. Sam locking down this hallway, able to retreat back towards waiting. Joe still in play as well, so there is threats up and ready to go for Reven, but they're falling like flies. Soniqs much better there on their second attack.
Yeah, match point. They got 4 of them, and the formalities are starting to take place now here on Themepark. The expectations well and truly were for the Soniqs to get the job done comfortably, and they are doing so.
Just tell the boys to calm down.
Well, they have
to get it done.
We have had a tactical timeout from Reven as we go back through the replays. We see the wonderful opening nade from Gunnar. Luckily, though, he responded with a much better second nade. This one here, finding the kill onto draw.
Slight improvement, as I said. Yeah, good work. Doing a really good job of creating a bit of chaos, particularly top arcade. Reven were forced back towards site, and just due to the nature and how they prepped it, which is perfectly normal. So many angles in towards the objective itself. It's not the easiest of places to lock down. Soniqs exploit it. They do a good job. And again, so it goes back to the storyline. Throne, very difficult to attack. They don't get that one across the line, but then they respond 4 match points, and it should be a matter of time until they through to phase number 2.
Gunnar and Rexen, probably my 2 standouts. Gunnar's got like 12 and 4. Rexen's like 9 and 2. So very much in terms of the KD department, but it's been a team effort. But they've really led from the front for their respective team. 6-2 lead for Soniqs is quite substantial. Reven will have to fight tooth and nail here. And they will head back actually to Bunk Daycare here for this round, repeating it after the tactical timeout, which a couple of weeks ago we saw an interesting statistic, an infographic regarding tactical timeouts and teams' improvement. What was it? I think 14% and 20% improvement off the back of a...
On average.
On average, off the back of a tactical timeout.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'd love to bring that up. I feel like Soniqs and Goddess may have been one of the higher ones, if I recall correctly. I don't know, we have to get a fact check on that. But I mean, there is certainly a correlation between taking a tactical timeout and then winning the next couple of rounds. So is it enough for 4 match points against a team from NAL? Probably not, but we'll see if Reven can respond. I like the fact they're going back to the same objective, so we might see them try something new.
And we've got the Brava this time.
Yes.
So everything I said before, apply it to this round.
What did you say again?
Well, you get the drones, but also the ability to hack the default cameras, get that extra info in a round in a map that has probably been quite tricky to gain said info. I think that helps a lot, and obviously deals with some of their utility as well. The pests, for example, or mine magnets, and I think though that, oh, well, that's just gone. See Rexen's clutch drone.
A lot of drones available here for the attack, plus the Lion. Information has well and truly been the name of the game in this one. Gunnar with the defuse in hand. As you mentioned, 12 kills so far, so playing well. Especially when Soniqs are thriving with that information available. Looking ahead, their charge over towards Cafe. Joe is still lurking in cash. Crux has been very mindful of that from spawn. And I assume will drone that out fully if he looks to enter from that position. Conscious of runouts as well are the Soniqs, so they certainly learnt their lesson on their first attacking effort, and that's a sign of a good team.
After the opening kill on to Gunnar, shuts him down. That's the top fragger for Soniqs. That we'll be watching on, flicking cams for the rest of this round. 90 seconds remaining. At least a good start there once again for Reven. Their starts have probably been their best phases of these rounds, but as the rounds do go on, Soniqs, their experience shines through, especially in those on-site executions. Another clutch drone goes out from Rexen. Gets extra bits of information. He's already done a little bit of hacking along the way as well.
All eyes now really on Citizen, probably to open up this round for the Soniqs. Control everyone's top arcade, but the gunfight's over towards Control. A minute on the clock. Citizen does get a foothold, but with a player down, it's a tough position for the Soniqs. He can sort of post up. May look to swing, cooks a nade, but if he swings, he dies. Oh, not with the gun out, though. A 3v3, 40 seconds on the clock.
And he has yellow ping information onto Draw. Shot is nice. Draw just barely stays alive. Has a nade himself and a nitro. Cell still available for Runner. Draw finds the kill back, but he's traded though by Citizen. Geo, the push, top yellow. Nice angle though held by Joe. And now Citizen in a 1v2. 25 seconds left. Doesn't have diffuser, but not too far in front of him. So he can pick this up. Can still get this back into his hands. And give himself a chance to win this round. A clutch up for the Soniqs.
An opportunity with 15 seconds. Needs to find a kill to force the 1v1. That's what he tries to do, but Joe repositioned and Reven claimed the round.
Yeah, you could see Citizen there tries to bait the run and expect to push them from top yellow, but obviously, as you said, Joe with the reposition already in a good spot over towards Wade and gets the kill. Reven will hold on. It's not like they're going to go down without a fight, and I got to say this, 3-6 the score, and if Reven do end up losing this game, if they keep it close and they play well, of course they'll play later today, you would probably then put them as the favourites against Northampton. So I think even if they lose this, they've still got to just play well. There's a nice moment there from Citizen, but in the end, Reven had a lot more angles covered.
Seconds left. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Yeah, an awkward one there. I think if Gio had his time, I believe it was him in the 2v2, if he had his time again, may have looked to take a slightly different path. I think unknowingly walked into that double crossfire. Volt and yellow. It was always a tough one. Back to Throne then, though. And it's just important, and I'm sure the Sonics don't need to hear it, but it's just about being mentally tough and being reasonable with your expectations. Again, we go back to Throne. There's pretty much no pressure on the attack here to win the round. And if Sonics really want to, they could take a tactical after this and really reset and really prepare themselves for the forthcoming round.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, certainly no pressure yet, but it can arrive if you lose this, then the next one, suddenly it's 6-5, and suddenly there's that doom and gloom on the horizon. You want to just finish this one off sooner rather than later. Don't give Reven too many more opportunities here. Now, Joe, this is a little bit pesky towards Arcade. Can go for the run out. And through the sound cue, here's the double run. He can swing this to the left side, and he can cause a lot of damage, and will do so. There's one, there's two from Joe.
Drop the diffuser.
Beautifully played. No pressure on the run back. He doesn't even lose his life in barrels. Throws the Nitrocell out. Doesn't find what he's looking for, and Rexon does get the headshot. Honestly, Joe was very close to finding 3 there. But he gets the job done with 2 to start with. Gio also struggling to push through Cafe on the Monty.
Somewhat similar to the first Throne defense from Reven, where Joe able to kickstart things nicely for the defense. And Sonics playing catch-up, but this time they're doing a better job at keeping pace. A 3v3, certainly well and truly winnable from here. Gio with the Monty as well may provide value for the mid-round as they look to scout out positions. The drone economy, though, still pretty healthy for the attacks, so maybe not too much of an issue just yet.
Especially with Mozzie and Solus on the side of Reven. Only 4 drones eliminated. It's a pretty decent job from the Sonics. 90 seconds left, 3 versus 3. 3 match points, the magic number 3 at the moment. 2 on site for Reven, make that 3. They're very much prone in the corner. So Sonics will clear out, but it's the final push, the eventual push onto site. That's going to be the hardest part of this round for them.
I wonder what the hard breach plan is here for Sonics. I guess it's the reliance on the secondary hard breach from Gio if they want to get anything open. Outside of that, may look to just spearhead something through split with the Monty leading the charge. That's also a potential option, depending on how Sonics want to approach it. This is going to be an interesting conclusion. Difficult to expect either team to really come out on top here. I think the expectation, though, probably on Reven to lock down this cross.
2 best fraggers, though, for Reven are in the grave at the moment, so time for the others to stand up, find some impactful kills in this round. Rexon 11-3 is up there with Gunner. But for Runner, Sam, and Wrath, it's just 2, 3, and 2 kills respectively. They're going to have to find a couple here late in this round to keep this match alive. Rexon, they want to push through split. Grixer immediately as he peeks, he loses quite a bit of health. Ooh. And then the flash spot for what? Oh, Gio, though, the push from the Montang is successful with a pistol. Found the kill onto Sam. Shot, though, Grixer loses his life. Same with Rexon. Double from Wrath. And it is now only Gio left, and he loses his life. And they hold on once again for Reven on site. 4-6.
Not getting too nervous yet.
You or Sonics?
Well, I don't really care. I want a close game. So this is actually a good thing. So tactical has been taken then by Sonics. So as we sort of expected after Throne, they sort of want to brush that one off and especially want to reset after Joe once again being allowed to go ballistic. But we've seen the structure from Sonics. It's been great on the other side, so we're anticipating them to close this one out still in regulation.
We keep saying that, and yet Reven just keep finding these rounds. And the way that it started, at least in that last one, Joe, double kill at the start, you know, that's not something that's too uncommon from Reven so far in this game of Themepark. They've probably been the more aggressive team, especially on the defense. They like their little spawn peek, run out game. I think Soniqs are going to be a little bit more prepared for that, really, to close this game out. They got to be a little bit more cautious. Yeah, they got the kills back, to be fair, brought it back to 3v3. But a side like Throne Armory, it's very difficult to then push through without a whole heap of numbers, without any kind of advantage. We saw obviously that push through split, basically got shut down, a couple of flashes, it's full white, you can't really push through. And the only reason why that was even somewhat close was the flank from Geo from the other side through Dragon. That was about it. Without that, they were pretty much toast. So Reven have been good, they've been competitive, and that's really all you can ask for from this team. Soniqs though, what you got to ask for is a win. You can't lose this game, surely, Soniqs.
We've seen stranger things. We have seen stranger things, but we go back over towards initiation and office then for what may be the 11th and final round in this matchup. Again, Soniqs are going to show a reliance, or a preference at least, for the Brava. Geo will stick the Monty. I think that did provide some good value in the previous round, and also secondary hard breach is required. Mira will perpetuate through onto the side of Reven. We're going to see that placed for the Cafe extension. So Reven looking to do their best to spread their wings on this particular objective, and that's sort of why I made the point, I think, a little bit earlier in the broadcast, right? Top floor, Throne. In some respects, both sides play out similar.
And the real question now for Reven is, do you keep going for these kind of runouts, these spawn peaks? Do you keep trying to be ultra aggressive? Citizen straight in through storage immediately on the Nook, not really messing around. Because if you don't want to play that style, Reven can pull it back a little bit, maybe go for like a deep lurk on the Legion, runner as well on the Mozzie. Draw actually now pushing up through Arcade. That's an aggressive position to just swing early. Now drone will go in, but this is where Soniqs are positioned well. Droning down below rather than above means that for Draw, if he were to just jump out there, he's not going to find anyone. So Soniqs definitely have caught onto the fact that Reven are starting to punish these kind of plays, so they are being a little bit more cautious.
So Rexon then with the Cludge drone.
Oh, hello.
Interesting pathing, a yellow ping on to a runner, who is able to deal with the drones pretty effectively, can look to lock down that position. That information may have been used to try and facilitate a push from Citizen up the stairs mid-round, but that's going to be a little bit tougher now. Geo, though, can play the human drone, post up in Cafe, and start to apply a little bit of pressure on the exterior.
Time a factor, 90 seconds, and it's still 5 versus 5. No real contact made from either team. I think that's going to benefit Reven in this foray, especially still with these mirror windows that have to be dealt with. Not a whole lot of information for Soniqs. Yeah, they got drones, but really on site, those drones aren't. So at least they know that they can get some control elsewhere. Through Arcade, the lurk goes. Grixel loses his life in the trade. Got the kill onto Joe at the very least. That's the Warden dealt with. 4 versus 4 though. And Draw low on health too, so he loses quite a chunk of his life. And Jiro's been able to push through Cafe now, so he's got a bit of corridor control. This might just be Reven losing a grip on this round.
Summer's then over towards initiation, so an entry point available now for the Soniqs, and it's about applying as much pressure as possible in towards the objective. 2 nades available as well for Citizen. Smokes as well for Rexon if he wants to smoke said cross. The Warden has been taken down, so may be a viable option. 35 seconds and Reven looking to try and hold on in this round, in this map.
Timer factor, as you said, 30 seconds. There's not a lot of it. Citizen will push through Bunk. Doesn't really find anything straight away. That's another gas babe that goes out, but it'll be the last one from Sam. Nade now from Citizen goes out. Wasn't cooked very long. In goes Geo, though, through the smoke, and he takes only a little bit of damage, but he's into initiation. He can get this plant down. No one to stop him initially. Ooh. Citizen with a nice shot onto Sam. Knows there's going to be one close as well. Who's going to be able to push forward and stop this from happening? No one. It's Soniqs that get the plant down. They got the kills. Their entry far too good for Reven. Unable to stop it. Now they need to go for the 2v4 retake. Gunner will take out Runner, and Soniqs will be pushing through to phase 2, largely uncontested. It is the Soniqs that find the win here against Reven.
They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Why you be all on my line about nothing? Why won't you go get you $1 or something? Don't hang with it who line for nothing. I see that we different, you riding, I double. I don't do discussions on bragging about hundreds. Don't go to your places, I know that they sunken. Don't call me your brother, I barely could trust it. I talked to a shorty, she bagging the bucket. And I'ma need all of my dollars on corporate, so hand me the money, I divvy the pie. I'ma give all of my people a portion to build them a fortune. I'm flipping the ride. I can't be mixy when iffy the vibe. And 40 on 50 is really the time. Why are you all on my phone like you want me? Like you wasn't pushing the kid to the side. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling.
Well, when the Soniqs found out their group for the major guys, on Twitter they posted, are these even real teams? Well, I think we've got our answer. The answer is no, they're not real teams. And Soniqs have made their way to phase 2. Uncontested, 2 best of ones have been won, and they take down Reven. I will say, though, I thought Reven were largely competitive for the course of Themepark. They held their own.
Yeah, I'd say it wasn't completely uncontested. Soniqs were pushed a little bit here and there. Reven were able to poke and prod, but there was a big reliance, especially on defense, to Joe, on Joe to be ultra aggressive. But when it came down to being inside the building, clearing positions and outgunning opponents, it was really Gunnar himself who really propped up and played well. Rexon as well, a standout for the Soniqs. But it wasn't just, I think, the 5 players inside of the server that did a great job for this game. Shout out to the support staff for Soniqs as well, Joe Bro, Goddess. They played the veto really well. Yep. They cooked up some great strats as well that Reven found it difficult to play into. And I think Soniqs are in a good position now to sort of have a platform for the rest of the major.
Yeah, I agree. I think they won the map veto largely convincingly. So, yeah, shout out, of course, to the support staff, to the team as a whole, and in the server as well. They had a 5-1 lead, you can see here on the replays, and dominated that first half. Of course, Reven did get a couple of rounds to at least close out the second half. They made it competitive on the defense of Themepark. Our first viewing of Themepark for the major, and I thought it was exciting. We saw some runouts as well, obviously from the side of Reven. Thought they that helped them get back into the game ever so slightly. The Montang play we saw also come out. You know, that was a bit of a discussional point. It has been banned out. You thought maybe it was a bit more of a target ban. In this case, though, both teams did utilize it on Themepark, so something to keep in mind moving forward for the tournament. Montang has been banned quite a lot so far at the major, and then of course in the end Soniqs won it out 7-4 and rather comfortable. That means they move forward to phase 2. It also means for Reven, they'll be taking on Northampton in a best of 3 later today on the lower side of the bracket, where the loser will go home and the winner will of course qualify for phase 2.
I'll tell you what, that's going to be an interesting game because I get the impression that both Northampton and Reven are going to find it difficult to play against the opposition's play style, the aggression and the chaos that both rosters bring inside of the server. I think both teams are going to find it difficult to contain. Yep. Reven probably, I hate to say it, probably slight favourites heading into that. I only hate saying that because obviously we love the Japanese region, but I think they've probably proved themselves enough to be considered probably a 2-1 favourite.
Yeah, certainly so. Well, of course, congratulations to Soniqs, so therefore we'll go and have an interview. Ginny's got Gunnar for a quick chat.
Yeah. I love how there's bias from you guys, but that's fine. We got Gunnar here this time around, again, actually, so congratulations. This was the game that you were looking forward to the most, weren't you?
Yeah.
Closer.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so let's start off with the performance because the defense was actually very convincing, and then on the attack it was a little back and forth. So what happened there?
I mean, that's just theme attack. You know, they're good they got their hop outs, would get 2 of us, made it kind of hard to attack. But once we slowed it down and just, you know, waited for them to make their plays, shut them down, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, it looked pretty consistent, I'll be honest with you, but these are only the best of ones that we've seen from you guys so far on the LAN environment. You're now, congratulations, in phase 2. That's gonna be best of 3s. How are you feeling about those?
Feeling good. BO1s are scary. You know, those guys could just turn up for 1 game and just send us home. So yeah. I'm happy to be out and I'm ready for the BO3s.
Okay, absolutely love that. The excitement for the BO3s, but from being on LAN here, having those best of ones that you guys played as a collective, as a 5-man, what is the biggest thing that you're gonna be carrying on to phase 2?
Just I think our trust with each other, the plays we're making, just not even overthinking, just playing fluid and, you know, taking our time with things,
Okay.
not overthinking.
Fair enough. You have any plans for the couple days that you have off?
Scrims and hopefully get to explore Copenhagen a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for the
Thank you.
interview. I know you guys can hear those players, but we're going to be getting to a break, and we'll be back with the second game of today.